Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to be revisiting a game that I've already played a little bit of for Honest Indies. The previous demo of Merry Crisis I played back in November, and there's a new extended demo out, and this is that. So I'm going to make purposely very different choices from what I did before and what I will do when I play the full game whenever that comes out this winter. And also just go for different interactions with characters in general. This game allows you to pick the gender for the player character and for the 3 romance options, so I'm going to do the opposite of what I did last time. Let's see how that goes. And also wanted to just thank quick Allie from Monsoon Games for giving me a heads up that this demo was going to be happening, and if you're interested in learning more, you can read a written interview I did with her on my free Patreon back in January, and I will have that link in the description. But for now, let's dive in to the extended demo of this dating sim. Okay, before I definitely went non-binary, because I am also non-binary, and that is not an option you get to do very often. I'm gonna go with flashback scenes your character was born. I'll make them cis. Although I am trans. 3 romanceable characters. Okay, so let's pick them so I can make them opposite. So recent ex. First love will be a man. Content warning. This game may explore themes of racial prejudice, homophobia, family conflict, and transphobia depending on playable characters' identity and choices. It's about to give me the option to keep those warnings. I will. So far in what I had played previously, it's not that intense depictions of any of those. They're around, particularly interacting with your family and talking about relationships. December 22nd, a snow-covered New York. Sprint down the street. There'd been an early sprinkling of snow 2 days ago, and the streets are still slippery with patches of black ice. It's absolute madness to be running full tilt the way you are, but nobody bats an eye. I would not be running that fast. Having grown up in the Midwest, been around a lot of snow and ice, I'm still really cautious. You've lived here long enough to know that New York City is full of people who are late to something or another. In your case, your flight to Singapore is in less than 4 hours, and you still need to grab your stuff from the apartment. Let's just run like our life's on the line. You're exaggerating, but not much. Your mother would probably murder you for missing Christmas dinner. She's already mad that you're only visiting for a week. You're still charging down the street when disaster strikes. Your foot hits a patch of ice, and you flail frantically in the blind hope of catching a railing. Whoa. Alright. I said it last time too. I love these dogs, especially the smug face on this little one. Also, super cute earrings. Fortunately, someone catches your arm before you faceplant into the sidewalk. It's Nat, your housemate. I know you're excited to come home to me, but running on these streets is not a good idea. Liz barks and wags her tail, beaming at you, but Kehoe gives you a stern look as though in reproach. Never too busy to give the dogs a pat, though. That is one that I'm just going to choose every time. You technically have no time to spare, but you've never been able to resist these 2. You toss the toy bone for Liz and then give Kehoe a pat. Liz scampers off happily in search of the bone, and Kehoe gives you an imperious bark of satisfaction. Nat watches you, gaze lingers, expression hovering somewhere between fond and sad, and something you still don't have a name for. Because Nat is also your ex. Even now, her voice carries a warmth you've spent the past few weeks trying to forget. 4 weeks ago. So Nat is also who I'm going to try to pursue in this demo run, because I will not do that or recommend anyone get back together with especially a recent ex, having done that myself in college and it not going well. You both simply been moving in opposite directions, or so Nat had put it anyway. You stand in the kitchen of your shared apartment, reeling for all that had just been said and left unsaid. The radiator hisses unevenly in the corner, working overtime to fill the silence. A half-drunk mug of tea sits between you, long since gone cold. You'd sensed that Nat hadn't been happy for a while now, but you'd realized that it hadn't realized it had gotten this bad. Breakup bad. Are you even happy with me? Okay, since I'm gonna be pursuing Nat, I'm gonna say not unhappy, just too busy and distracted. Truth is, you'd been so busy with your own career that you'd stopped paying attention to what was happening between you and Nat. Perhaps in some ways you'd willfully refused to see the warning signs because you'd thought your relationship with Nat was too good to fail. The last 4 years with Nat had been some of the best years in your life. Stupidly, naively, you'd had genuinely expected those good times to last forever. Nat reaches over and takes your hands in hers, smooth and warm and big-knuckled. It's a gesture that's so familiar it makes your heart ache. I love you, but we can't keep going on like this. Something sharp and desperate claws at your throat. Can we work this out? You don't want things to end like this. I don't want them to end like this either. Can't we give this one last try? Nat wavers for a second. You think that maybe it's not too late to save this, but then Nat takes a deep breath and seems to steel her resolve. Shakes her head sadly. How many last chances have we given this? You bite your lip and curl your fists. Your nails dig deep into your palms. You wish you could pull Nat in, hold her tight, and refuse to let go. Instead, you nod mutely and look away to hide your prickling eyes. A week passes. December 3rd. You're still living with Nat in the same tiny apartment. You've already packed your things into neatly labeled boxes, and you've been scouring websites for apartments to rent, but New York City rent is sky high. As a late 20-something-year-old without much savings to your name, I'm a mid-30-something-year-old without much savings, there just aren't many options. Okay, I think this is just like a realistic thing. Like, even if you're trying your best to move on, especially if you're still living with the person, it'll take a minute to get past that and unpack feelings. Truth is, you're still in love with Nat, and you see them all the time, probably extra hard to move on. You keep expecting to wake up curled around her in the bed you once shared, hoping that these past weeks could just disappear like fog on a cold autumn morning. The boxes continue sitting by the door, a reminder of the life you'd once shared. You try to tell yourself that this is for the best, that this is what Nat wants, but you see it in Nat's eyes sometimes. Moments of weakness where she's unable to hide the way she still feels for you. You can't help thinking that if you could just find the right things to say or do, you might still be able to save this relationship. I love the car honking, breaking up, the daydreaming. The sound of traffic transports you back to the cold street, breath fogging in the December air. It's beginning to snow properly now. Tiny snowflakes settle in Nat's hair on the shoulders of her jacket. Reflexively brush them off. Before you realize what you're doing, you reach out to gently brush the snow from Nat's hair, tucking a stray strand behind her ear. You hear the soft intake of breath when your fingers graze her ear. Nat blinks, cheeks coloring slightly in surprise. You pull your hand back, wondering if you've crossed a line. But Nat's gaze is warm, and it makes you wonder if she too is thinking of all of the winter holidays you'd spent together, making snow angels and sipping hot chocolate by a window. For a moment, you can just pretend you're 21 again, college seniors, still in love and full of hope for the future. The space between you seems to crackle, but the silence is a thick layer of hard-packed ice. It's Nat who breaks the silence. When does your flight leave? 3.5 hours. With a change of expression worthy of an 80s sitcom, all of the color bleeds out of Nat's face. Shit! Need a lift? At your hesitation, Nat waves a hand. It's no problem. What's the point of a holiday if you can't even use it to save it? Nat falters a little, but soldiers on. A housemate. in a time of crisis. The hesitation when Nat said housemate makes your heart constrict. Dang. Okay, we'll still do the hug thing. Just going all in on a Nat run. You pull Nat into a hug. Nat lets out a small sound of surprise, but a second later relaxes into your arms. You breathe deeply, inhaling the familiar scent of Nat. For a moment, you can almost pretend that nothing has changed between you. The thought brings a warm sting to your eyes, and you step back, blinking quickly. Thanks, Nat. I really appreciate it. Nat's expression is gentle, but you catch a flicker of something you can't quite decipher. En route to JFK Airport. Nat's one of the few New Yorkers you know who owns a set of wheels. You've spent countless weekends exploring the small towns along the Hudson River, hiking in the nearby Catskills? I don't know. It's a word I've heard. And a stumble over. Going on road trips. You'd been driving through a blizzard to Quebec, singing terrible pop songs at the top of your lungs, when you first realized how in love with Nat you were. At the next stop sign, Nat turns to glance at you. What do you say when your family asks what you're still doing in New York? You'd expected to return to Singapore after college, but you started dating Nat in senior year, so you found a way to stay a little longer. 1 year led to the next, and before you knew it, you'd spent nearly 3 years in New York after graduating. Even without Nat, New York's starting to feel like home. You let out a long exhale and look out the window on your side of the car. Singapore's where you grew up, but it never quite felt like a life you'd chosen. In New York, with a million other transplants of the city, you feel a little lighter, free from the expectations of what you should do, whom you should be. Nat had never pushed you to settle in New York for good, but you'd been considering it. At first, you'd stayed in New York because Nat was here, but as time passed, you come to think of New York as home too. A part of you still wants to stay in the city, even though there are pieces of Nat everywhere in New York. But it's a big enough city, if you needed to escape those pieces of Nat, you could. Restaurants and bodegas, and parks and street corner markets that remind you of her. But perhaps you could reclaim each piece of the city if you had to. I've built life here too. Nat stares at you for a long time, curiosity mixed in with pain. It'll be nice to still have you in the same city. The traffic light turns green again, finally, and Nat starts the car up again. Nat slides into a spot at the airport drop-off area. See you when you get back? You can't help but think about all the times Nat had driven you to the airport, kissed you goodbye, and told you how much she's missed you while you were gone. How many things had you done together without knowing it would be the last time? Nat reaches across the center console and takes your hand. Your heart leaps into your throat. There's something soft and unguarded in her gaze that makes you want to lean in. We're going all in on a Nat run, but that does seem like a terrible idea to just give her a smooch right now, unprompted. So we're gonna skip this kiss. We can maybe get one later. You squeeze your eyes shut and force yourself to take a deep breath before turning back to Nat. Merry Christmas, Nat. You shut the car door behind you, heart thudding in your chest, been a whisker away from a bad decision. One very long flight later. It is 2 days later. December 24th, Christmas Eve. You wheel your luggage into the lift of your public housing block. The doors are about to clang shut when someone dashes toward you at full speed. Let's calmly press the button. Normally I'm a arm into the door type of person. With commendable composure under pressure, you reach out and press the door open button. But these old lifts have a mind of their own. The lift doors continue to close, but the person continues to rush forward. The lift door clang shuts around the boot. A second later, the door jerks back open, and the person strolls in, grinning at you. Thanks. Didn't want to wait for the next lift. Shrug and jerk a chin at the buttons. Okay, yeah. We're not doing a Shay run, so yeah, we'll just... whatever. The woman smiles at you, dark eyes dancing with amusement. She reaches out to press the button for the 11th floor, the one you live on. You put 2 and 2 together. This must be Shay, your neighbor's new tenant, the one your mother complains about on every phone call. The company she brings home, the late-night jamming sessions with her bandmates, the muddy mountain bike track she leaves in the corridor. You study the woman in greater detail as the lift starts trundling upward. She's wearing ripped black jeans and a sleeveless red tee which shows off strong shoulders, defined muscles, and tan sun-kissed skin. There's a guitar case over her shoulder. When you return your gaze to the woman's eyes, you realize you've been caught staring. She winks at you. Like what you see? Her voice is low and playfully flirtatious. You can definitely see why your mother disapproves. We're neighbors, I say matter-of-factly. Shay frowns, brows furrowing. You can practically see her mind whirring while trying to place you. Eventually, her eyes light up in recognition. Oh, you're the one who moved overseas, right? Your mother talks about you all the time. She complains about me often, you mean. Sometimes, among other things. Your conversation is interrupted by a loud ding as the lift arrives on your floor. You step out of the lift into the corridor after Shay. You'd spent countless afternoons kicking the ball back and forth along this corridor with your brother. Which seems dangerous. It would be really easy for the ball to go over this wall down 11 floors. You catalog the changes since the last time you'd been back home for Lunar New Year. It's been more than 8 months since then, much to your mother's disapproval. For one, there's a new row of thriving plants extending from your family's unit to the one next door. Shay smiles at you and gestures down the corridor. Want to be introduced to the fam? You blink. A split second later, you realize that she's referring to the plants. Sure. Shay introduces each plant to you in loving detail. The finicky orchid, the indestructible ZZ plant, and the drama queen fiddle leaf fig. Finally, Shay waves at your family's sad bougainvillea that has been neglected for years. Can you tell I'm not a plant person? Hey, maybe you could give this poor soul some TLC while you're here? I'm only here for a week. Oh. Shay's face falls slightly, but she quickly recovers. We'll make it count. See you around, neighbor. You continue on your way down the corridor to your unit. I'm home. Stern mom face. Your mother rushes out of the kitchen to smack you in the arm. Ow, what? Why? You should have come back a week earlier, or stayed a week longer. 1 week? Pathetic. Not even enough time to binge watch a K-drama. You're just not binging hard enough. A second later, she pulls you into a brief hug. She's never been a particularly physically affectionate person, but she does hug you each time you come home to visit. You return the embrace. In your arms, she feels smaller, thinner than you remember. Your dad comes running out of his room at the commotion. He, on the other hand, has grown a belly. There you are. Should have let us pick you up from the airport. I need to waste money on a taxi. He waves a hand at the containers on the table, beaming proudly. I debuted from your favorite stall at Red Hill Market? Your mother frowns accusatorily at you, taking in your ravenous expression. Sometimes I think you only come back for the food more than us. Your dad shrugs. I'm happy as long as something works as bait. Where's Dee? Equals younger brother. He's out hanging with a friend, again, on Christmas Eve. She makes an apostrophe mark with her fingers at the end of the word friend, and stares a meaningful glance at your father. You take this with a pinch of salt. Your mother has a habit of simply assuming things that she'd like to believe, and sometimes people are just friends. And yet, she had done the opposite with Nat, continuing to refer to her as a flatmate months after you told her about your relationship. Here's where a little bit of the racial prejudice and homophobia kicks in. You suppose that for them, it was just easier than confronting the fact that you were dating a black American instead of a Chinese Singaporean of the wrong gender, too. Before you can sink further into these thoughts, the front door swings open violently. Here's our little bro with a super cute cat shirt. Your younger brother tosses his socks in a bag by the gate and sachets into the house. Hello, something smells amazing. Can I have some? Your mother rolls her eyes and mutters something about bottomless stomachs, but waves everyone over to the dining table. Mom thinks you were on a date, bro. Your mom glares at you, betrayed, but your brother only laughs. Your mother's eyes light up with hope. So it's true? I can neither confirm nor deny. Your brother plunks down in the seat next to you. Every time I see you, you look even older than I remember. That's exactly how aging works, genius. Sucks to be you. At least I'm not the one getting dumber every year. The two of you grin at each other. You'd never admit it out loud, but it's good to see him. For the first couple of minutes, there's only the sound of utensils scraping as all four of you practically inhale the food. The sound of a good meal is when there's no conversation because the food is so good. And then you catch up with conversation after you're like halfway through eating. It's truly the best you've tasted in weeks, maybe months. After the feeding frenzy has died down, conversation resumes. So, how have you been? We'll open up. You tell them about your job, a new hole-in-the-wall Chinese restaurant you discovered, and the latest dating disaster that has befallen Kenny, the son of a family friend. It's almost as though you'd never left. Once you've warmed up a little, you start talking more about yourself and how you've been. You talk about the record deal you got, and that's pretty cool. How they'd given the green light on your draft album, which is still on track for a release in spring next year. Your parents have never been too keen on you making music for a living, but at this, your mother slips you a small smile. Your father has been karaokeing to your YouTube channel. That is pretty wholesome and cute. Thanks, Dad. It's good, very catchy. Your brother smirks. He sings so loud the neighbors know it now. Eventually the conversation turns to Nat, and even though you had intended to tell them about the breakup, you can't bring yourself in the end. Okay, I thought it was going to be the other way around. Soon the food has been polished off. After lunch, in the kitchen. You're in the kitchen with your mother, helping to clear up. When you were younger, you'd resented the fact that your mother never really expected your brother and father to help with most of the cooking or cleaning. But it's for that reason the kitchen had become one of the few quiet, intimate places that you shared with your mother. A sanctum of sorts. She's always been most comfortable talking to you about difficult topics amidst the cooking, fumes, and the sound of sizzling oil. Today, standing side by side at the sink, you can't help feel a bit of that old closeness. You know, your father... She stops abruptly and waves her hand at you dismissively, changing tacts. Well, we're both not getting any younger. She's been saying this for years in an attempt to guilt trip you into returning home. But this time her tone makes you think there might be more to it than she's letting on. Just as you're about to ask her what she means, she shakes her head and turns away. Classic mom tactic. Your mother walks off to tie up the garbage in a plastic bag. When she returns, her expression has softened into a smile. It's good to have you back. I just wish you'd stay longer. You blink. It's classic behavior from her. Something almost tender bundled up with a jab, and all to distract you from what she'd been talking about earlier. We won't force it, though. I missed you guys, too. Your mother's smile wavers a little, and she suddenly blurts, "Help me convince your father not to eat so much oily fried food, okay?" You nod, about to follow up with another question, but your mother clamps her mouth shut, a signal she will not say any more on the matter. Right as you head out of the kitchen and throw out the trash, your mom adds tentatively, "So how are things with you and Nat?" You're not sure whether to be touched or horrified that she's finally recognizing your relationship with Nat now that it's over. fight with my mom right now. We broke up. Which I actually did probably select last time, but whatever. You've never really been the type to go into details about your love life with your family, but you do mention Nat from time to time, and she features in your phone calls. The news spills out of you before you can stop yourself. We broke up. Oh no, how come? You sigh, wondering how to summarize all the subtle tides that had little by little carried you both in different directions. I guess in the end, it felt like we didn't belong in each other's worlds. You brace yourself, waiting for her to say something about how she told you to date a Chinese Singaporean, but she doesn't. In fact, she actually looks sorry for you, even though her tone is gruff. The internet, there's still such a thing as different worlds? You draw in a long breath, then shrug. Honestly, you're surprised at how your mother's actually trying to talk to you? That's new. The two of you stand wordlessly in the kitchen for a while until finally you grab the trash bag and head out. Just as you ran in the corridor to the shared rubbish chute, you bump into Shay. She's repotting one of her plants in the corridor, humming a little tune as she works. She pauses and looks up as you walk past. She brightens up and gives you an enthusiastic wave, nearly flinging a couple clods of mud at you in the process. Wearing a New York Knicks jersey, right after having a conversation about being in different worlds with somebody else. Interesting. But we're not here for Shay. We're gonna reconnect with Nat today. See how that goes. You give Shay a wave in response, then continue to the rubbish chute without stopping to chat. After dinner that night, you get a call from Junie, your best friend from junior college. You're back in Singapore finally. I stare at a picture of you on my phone every couple of months so I don't forget what you look like. You laugh. You've been friends for years, so you know how dramatic she can be. That's creepy. Also, I literally just video called you a month ago. Still, you've got plenty to update each other about. Eventually, the conversation loops around to the class reunion scheduled for the day after Christmas. By the way, and this is a name that I mispronounce constantly, I think it's Chu. I'm gonna say Chu. Chu just confirmed that he's coming to dinner. Your heart twists. It's been nearly a decade since you had last seen Chu. It feels as though you'd met each other a lifetime ago. 8 years earlier. Our first real love. You're at a party with Junie and her boyfriend, Tech. At some point between the rowdy drinking games and chit-chat, you wander out of the pool alone for a bit of a breather. You get a couple of seconds of blissful solitude before someone else slips back out the door and joins you. It's Chu. You've seen him around in school and seen his name on every single dean's list since the dawn of time. You know he's got a reputation for being aloof. This does not look like an aloof expression. But you've never really spoken until today. Needed some peace and quiet? You laugh and raise an eyebrow at him pointingly. Yeah, well, I'm not gonna get it now. The conversation starts small. School, mutual friends, favorite bands. Then somehow the momentum sweeps you both along with it. Chu listens more than he talks, and his attention feels all-encompassing. Time passes in a hazy blur, thick and viscous. You keep talking longer than you'd planned to. People occasionally come in and out of the back door, but you barely even notice. For who knows how long, nothing pierces the bubble that forms around the two of you. Eventually, though, the party begins to empty out, and the few remaining people come streaming out of the house. Suddenly, there's a loud whoop, and the host dives headlong into the pool with a massive splash. A second later, everyone hoots and plunges in after it one by one, cackling and cheering erupts around you. Alright, seems the madness is starting. I'm heading home. You? We're going in the pool this time. When you surface, the first thing you see is Chu, soaking wet and glaring at you. A grin tugs at the corner of your mouth. Wet, pissed off eyes. Chu shakes his head, pinning you with his molten gaze. A second later, to your surprise, he begins to laugh too. Chu wrings the water from his clothes, then tucks his wet hair behind his ears. Okay, I'm definitely leaving now. You follow him. After saying bye to the rest, the two of you walk out of the house together. A small shiver passes through you. You're not sure if it's because of the gentle breeze and the wet skin. You linger at the front gate. There are no stars, not that you can see anyway, but the sparkle in Chu's eyes is close enough. It seems neither of you want to say goodbye just yet. The motion is so quick, you're not sure if you'd imagined it, but you can just about swear you see Chu's eyes dip down to your lips. Okay. I have done these options and will again, but for today, we're moving on. We need to get back to Ned. You hold back. You just let the sexual tension amongst teens linger outside of this house party. Chu continues to stare at you, but even though your heart hammers in your chest, you do not close the distance between you. Weeks pass. After that, the two of you go back to your separate, parallel lives. Occasionally, you'll bump into each other in the hallways between classes, but the encounter slowly fades into memory. That is, until the final year of junior college. As fate would have it, Chu transfers into your class and gets assigned a seat next to you. There's an inescapable intimacy to sitting shoulder to shoulder for hours every day, watching Chu take notes in his absurdly neat handwriting. I'm going to take a moment to clean my glasses and reflect briefly. There is a manga that I love that has also turned into an anime that I love so far, called You and I Are Polar Opposites. That's just a very wholesome, sweet, like high school romance show. And it starts with the two protagonists being desk to desk and developing crushes simultaneously on each other, which is very sweet. Okay, glasses are cleaner now. As the days go by, the two of you begin spending more and more time with each other after class. We're gonna be cold and competitive. Wary of getting too close again to keep Chu at arm's length. Still, there's a thrumming, electric undercurrent to your interactions. Two, like poles of a magnet pushing against each other. You match his sharp, almost incandescent brilliance, neither of you willing to back down. Somehow you're always able to get under his skin, and the way his ears would sometimes turn pink at the tips gives you a strong thrill. Beneath the tension and brinksmanship, something else simmers under the surface. One afternoon, after cheering on your school team at a football match, you're on your way home when you realize you've left your wallet behind. Cursing, you turn back. The storm hits. By the time you locate your wallet face down in a puddle at the edge of the field, you're soaked through. As you bend to pick up the wallet, a shadow comes over you. It's Chu, trying valiantly to hold an umbrella over the two of you with just an absolutely soaked through white shirt. The rain's coming at you in great horizontal sheets, and the wind is yanking the umbrella around despite Chu's best efforts to keep it upright. Thanks, but I'm not sure the umbrella's doing much at this point. Didn't realize you were such a defeatist. By the time you reach the shelter of the bus stop, you're both soaked to the bone and breathing hard from sprint. Chu looks down at his drenched clothes, his wet hair, pushes a wet strand of hair out of his face. I'm starting to sense a strong correlation between spending time with you and getting drenched. You laugh, acknowledging the throwback to the night you'd met. The bus stop is deserted. The buses must have gone by, which means they'll be a long wait ahead. The rain's loud enough that there's no pressure to talk, but Chu holds your gaze instead of taking out his phone. As you study Chu, you notice that his lips have gone slightly pale. He's slightly shivering. Jesus, you look like you're on the verge of death. I might be. Okay, we're not doing we're not doing that right now. Grin, hypothermia in the tropical country. Tomorrow's breaking news. asshole. Next time I'm leaving you out there. Chu steps closer, and suddenly his face is only inches from yours. He lifts his chin. If this were a movie, you'd be offering me your jacket right now. Sorry, this isn't a movie. No jacket on me, I'm afraid. Something moves across Chu's face, then disappears as he swallows and looks away. A moment later, your bus pulls up at the curb. We're hopping on the bus, so we're leaving him. Bye, see you tomorrow. From that day on, there's no turning back. You fall fast and hard for each other. I was hoping that I could play it in a way where they ended up never being together, but just had this like constant tension, what if almost moments. But no, they still fell for each other eventually. You see each other every day and spend hours talking on the phone in the middle of the night. Messages exchanged in the margins of literature books, a dozen different ways to type "I love you" on a graphing calculator. But in hindsight, the sweetness of sinking gently into that relationship will always be tainted by the memory of how things had soured between you. Back to the present. Junie clears her throat, reminding you that she's still on the phone. So, you're coming to class reunion, right? Yes, I'm over Chu. You'd stopped dreaming about Chu sometime around your second year in New York. Stopped itching to look him up on social media and see what he was doing. Now you'd like to believe that's all water under the bridge. I like just the water association with Chu. Anyway, you do want to see the rest of your classmates, and you'd be damned if you let Chu take that away from you. Yay! Junie's exclamation nearly blows out your eardrums. Fortunately, you'd had the foresight to hold your phone an inch, or a few, away from your ear. Having extracted your promise to attend the reunion, Junie hangs up a little while later. You fall asleep that night, your mind still swirling with memories of a life you thought you'd left behind. It is Christmas Day. The rest of Christmas unfolds the way it usually does. Hectic, noisy, your extended family asking you too many questions you don't have answers for. Halfway through dinner, you get a message from Nat, accompanied by a selfie with the dogs, and Nat's parents out on a morning stroll. Merry Christmas, hope you're eating all the chili crab on my behalf. If you want to call for a bit later, let me know. This is our end. I have denied the others, we have not been invited to a show. We're gonna call Nat. The heart symbol in the message makes your heart throb, and you try to tell yourself it'd probably been an accident. Frequently used emojis, fat thumbs. I make a lot of typos. You text back and forth for a bit before your mother glares at you. Reluctantly, you put your phone away until after dinner. Once dinner winds down, you head out of the restaurant with your family. Nat's message awaits your reply. Call Nat. We could have had 2 or 3 options there. I gave us one. You decide to give Nat a call tonight. In a spur-of-the-moment decision, you head to the nearby park for some peace and quiet. At Labrador Park, we're going to talk to a dog owner. The leafy boardwalk through the mangroves opens up on the coast. Waves lap gently against the shore, the beach is completely deserted. You sit down and lean back against a tree. Despite the cool nighttime breeze, the sand's still slightly warm beneath you. The ocean has always felt like a lifeline, connecting Singapore to New York, twin islands miles apart. Growing up, you'd spent a lot of time in this park. Your mom had often brought you and your brother here after school, on her lunch break. The 3 of you would sit by the beach and split a Sarpina's pizza, then splash around in the sea together. You'd come here with Nat when she'd visited Singapore too. 3 years ago. The past couple days have felt like a sun-soaked dream. It's Nat's first time in Singapore, and through her eyes, the city feels fresh and magical. Nat sits next to you, wrinkling bare toes in the warm sand. The cats have woken up. I'm just watching them stretch. When she unbuttons the top few buttons of her shirt, you can't help but stare, eyebrow arching. It's very hot. I don't know, feels like you're trying to seduce me, person I'm dating for like a year at this point. Nat grins as she plants her hand into the sand next to you and shifts a little closer, her nose brushing your ear. Is it working? A little too well. We're in a public place. Nat smiles, but the intensity of her gaze steals your breath. Barely, there's no one here. Her eyes sparkle, and her voice dips an octave, making your heart flutter. You eventually close the distance, pulling Nat into a kiss. When you finally break apart, you're both breathing hard. You let your heart rate settle, watching the cargo ships inch across the horizon. This might not be the pristine white sand beaches featured in Southeast Asian tourist magazines, but it's yours. It's your beach. You miss this, don't you? You don't answer immediately, mulling it over. Do you want to move back? I don't know. Nat lets out a soft breath. The question had always hung over your heads like an executioner's axe. First during the countdown to college graduation, and then in the months that followed. Nat nods, expression gentle. The two of you stand and stroll along until you reach the end of the jetty. He's just getting a stink eye from one of the cats. What the heck? The sun is just beginning to set, turning the sky a deep pinkish purple. One of your parents' favorite karaoke songs comes to mind. Nat slips her hand into yours with very minimal buttons buttoned, listening intensely as you sing softly to her, translating each of the Mandarin lines into English. I'd accompany you till the oceans dry up and the stone breaks to pieces. Even if we went back to the very beginning, I'd still choose you. Nat tests the words out one by one, trying to remember the shape of them on her lips. You grin, finding Nat's slightly funky pronunciation impossibly endearing. Nat pauses, laughing. The way you're smiling at me means I'm probably saying it wrong. You sing the chorus again, and Nat repeats the words back to you out line by line, stopping only when she's replicated them precisely. Such a perfectionist. Nat gives you a bashful smile and squeezes your hand, only when it comes to you. From the end of the jetty, you lean against each other and watch the waves surge up the coast, crashing white and foamy against the sand. Nat's still humming the tune softly. With the sea melding seamlessly into sky, you dream of endless tomorrows with Nat. In a city where everything feels like there's always changing, the ocean feels like a constant, and Nat by your side is another. As the years go by. They say nothing perfect ever lasts in this world, but for a long time, you and Nat had gotten pretty damn close. And yet, despite the lyrics of that song, the ocean had outlasted you and Nat after all. I hadn't appreciated it before. I liked a little bit of city skyline way back there. You watch a cargo ship move silently along the ink-dark ocean until your phone rings. You take a deep breath and accept the video call. Hi, how was dinner? You tell her everything that has happened since you arrived. For the past couple years, Nat's been the person you talk to about anything and everything. And that hasn't changed. Not yet, at least. I walked over to Labrador. You switch the camera to share a view with Nat. Some stretch of sea, same rocky cliffs, same starless sky. Things can be more different. Hey, I see stars. I can see stars in there. They're sprinkled throughout the whole sky, and it's very pretty. Oh, I remember that park. What an afternoon we had. Your chest tightens. You wish Nat was here in person, but you settle for Nat's grainy face on the screen. You take a deep breath, force yourself to come right out with it. Oh, do you really think we're broken in ways that can't be fixed? When Nat speaks again, her voice is careful. You wonder what landmines she's trying to avoid? Remember when I asked you the other day if this life with me is something you'd want 10 years down the road? You didn't say yes. Dang, what did we say? You sigh, pinching your temples. You do remember that conversation. The break in her voice hurts as much as the look on Nat's face then. But tonight feels different. Don't you feel the exact shape of what you'd lost when you let Nat go? I didn't say no either. What if I do want a life with you, but I haven't figured out what that looks like yet? Nat's quiet for a moment, staring after something off screen. A second later, she turns back and meets your gaze through the screen. I thought you wanted out, but couldn't bring yourself to say it. I didn't want to keep waiting for you to leave one day. The words land like stones hurled into the sea. There's no bitterness in Nat's voice or her expression, only a kindness that makes it 100 times worse. You think back to the conversation you had in the kitchen on Thanksgiving. You've replayed it 100 times in your head since then, but this makes you view it in a different light. Had Nat been trying, in her quiet, careful way, to release you from a life you didn't want, but couldn't bear to walk away from? Flashback again. You're meeting with the record label executives tomorrow, and you're still short one song. You hum a bar of the chorus and look back down at the sheet music spread across the kitchen table, praying fervently for inspiration. Write about happy endings, write about getting past a rough patch. Tales with sad endings. We're gonna write about getting past a rough patch. And the song is gonna be about this rough patch with Nat, and then it's gonna end up on an album that releases in the spring, and they're gonna be back together. Your relationship feels like it's been running on half a fuel tank for a while now, but you want to believe that you'll get through it. Each word is harder than it should be, but you work at it until you have something that might sound like a happy ending. If you really squint, you're still trying to make the chorus sound more hopeful than delusional when you hear the front door close. Nat steps into the kitchen, and you wonder how much she has overheard. She steps around the counter and pulls you into a brief hug, pressing a kiss to your forehead. Hey, how's the song going? I think I've got half the lyrics down. Nice. Sounds like you've had a productive afternoon. Nat's smile still makes your heart flutter in a way nothing else does. Are we gonna eat your famous cucumber salad tonight? You laugh. It's just crushed cucumber, garlic, salt, rice vinegar, and chili oil. That sounds good though. But her enthusiasm for the simple dish always makes you smile. Nat grins and your heart warms. You're glad that you had managed to squeeze it in before all the things you needed to do that day. You're bringing the salad to Nat's family's Thanksgiving potluck tonight, and Nat's planning to make mashed potatoes to go along with it. You help her with it, deciding to worry about your song later tonight. The two of you stand side by side peeling potatoes while she chops garlic. After a minute, she nods toward the sheet music on the table. Do I get a preview of the melody? We'll sing it to her. You agree, partially out of habit. Nat has always been the first person to hear your songs, and partially because you're hoping it'll mean something to her. When you're done, Nat holds your gaze for a while before speaking. You've always been the sort of couple to tell each other everything, but recently there's been more that you haven't been able to say to each other. This verse is a bit more honest than you've been in weeks, and you can tell Nat's a little floored by it. Reminds me of the Chekhov story, Lady with a Lapdog. Ends on a happy scene, except you close the book wondering if any of it will last. This knocks the air out of you. Yeah, dang, Nat. If Nat had guessed that you'd been writing about the two of you, then her reply feels almost damning. Yeah. The two of you move around each other comfortably, trading space with the quiet ease of people who have shared a kitchen for years. Yeah, for being a small apartment, your kitchen has an island. It looks massive. I'm jealous. After dinner. You're back from Thanksgiving dinner at Nat's parents', leftovers packed away for tomorrow. The apartment feels too quiet. You're not coming with me to my parents' place this weekend, are you? Nat's tone suggests that she knows you've already made up your mind. You shake your head, thinking about the changes that the producers are likely to request after tomorrow's meeting. You're not coming with me to Singapore for Christmas either. You said it was fine if I came for Lunar New Year's instead. Then, quieter, almost to herself, Nat mumbles, My parents are chill about us. Yours aren't exactly rolling out the red carpet for me. You go very still. This is the first time Nat has ever said that out loud. You know from the way Nat had said it that she's been carrying it for a while, which I think is understandable. It's true that Nat isn't exactly the sort of person your parents wished you were dating, because she's American and a woman. But there's not much you could do about it. The two of you stare wordlessly at each other across the living room. An impasse. Finally, you clear your throat. I'll be in the kitchen finishing up the song. You don't need to wait. Nat nods. You feel her eyes as you walk away. Several hours later. It's nearly 1 a.m. The song is workable. If you head to a recording studio first thing tomorrow morning, you just might be able to put everything together before the meeting. You're just about down to the last gulp of tea you'd made to keep yourself awake when Nat pads into the kitchen. You two broke up at like 1 a.m.? Right after Thanksgiving? Nat shrugs. It's alright, couldn't sleep anyway. When you look closely at her, you realize her eyes are red-rimmed. What's wrong? It feels like I'm standing in the way of the life you actually want. That's not true. You're part of that life. In 10 years, do you imagine us together? Nat's eyes are begging you to say yes. You should say yes. But a second passes, then two. The word remains lodged in your throat. Truth is, you have no idea what you want your life to look like. What comes out of your mouth ends up being 10 years is a long time. Dang, yeah, you said the wrong thing. Even if you two were gonna break up. That was rough. One long conversation later. You've said all there is to say. Nat pulls you into a hug. You press your face into the soft cotton of her shirt. It's better this way. You won't resent me for the things you had to give up. And I won't keep waiting for something more. Back to the present. We're on a beach. Nat's still on the other end of the line, waiting once again for your answer. Whoa. Okay, but we're doing a Nat run. I already said, I already shut down other people a bit. Although, I guess you probably could play this without, dating anybody by the end. Which is fine. You'd wanted to say this ever since the conversation you had on Thanksgiving, but this time the courage doesn't desert you. Nat, I don't want you to give up. Not now, not ever. There's a lot I'm not sure of, but I know I want a life with you. I'm so sorry I've been taking this for granted. I know we haven't been happy, but I can do better. Silence on the other end of the line. Not even static. Push through it. I still think we can fix things. Then the unmistakable sound of Nat trying very hard not to cry. You know it from her shaky, uneven breaths. Over the years, you've learned to endure a lot of things, but Nat's tears have never been one of them. Nat sniffs and seems to regain her composure. Your breath catches when Nat begins to sing. You could also tell her, oh hey, my mom actually cares about us. She talked to me. She just acknowledged the relationship. Even if we went back to the beginning, I'd still choose you. Somehow she remembered the tones and the words almost perfectly. Probably recited it to herself. In college, I dated someone who had been learning Mandarin for 8 years and went abroad there. And I don't remember it now because that relationship does not exist and ended 15 years ago. But once I learned how to say I love you, I just would recite that to myself pretty regularly so I could just say it to her every once in a while. You'd sung her this song on this very jetty 3 years ago. You hadn't expected then that she'd file it away, saving it for a moment like this. Even though all you have is Nat's deep baritone, a smidgen out of tune, you can imagine her sitting right not behind you, right here with you, long legs stretched out in front of her in the sand. The silence afterward is rich, earthy, and alive. I like the framing of the silence being alive. How would you feel if I flew to Singapore? Okay, so this is something that I'm not sure if it's been a change since the previous iteration of the demo, or if just the way I've played things, it's different. Because back in November's playthrough, it was revealed earlier Nat was actually already going to be in Singapore. Excuse me. I think for some sort of conference. But right now, Nat is not. You blink. Not quite sure you've heard Nat correctly. I was missing you, so I started looking at flights, and apparently nobody wants to fly on Boxing Day. Nat takes a deep breath. You wanted me to come for such a long time, and I never did. Well, you did once, at least, but... yeah. I'm sorry I didn't try hard enough to be a part of your life in Singapore. Nat's the sort of person who asks 1,000 questions before coming to a careful conclusion. Calm, steady, practical to a fault. So, a very sudden flight across the world. It's unlike them. Not the sort to book a last-minute flight on Christmas halfway around the world on the strength of a feeling. And yet, she would for you. I'll come if you want me to. Nat's voice is calm, unhurried. But it's okay if you prefer me not to. I know you're meant to be with your family. You think of everything that's still unfinished between you, and how you're gonna have to explain to your mom, who you just said you broke up with Nat to, that you're maybe not broken up. Places in Singapore you've always wanted to show her, conversations you wish you'd had, parts of you that exist only in this city, pieces Nat has never known. Even if you and Nat don't find your way back to each other, you want to say goodbye to her here, too. Slowly, you let out the breath you've been holding. Of course I want you to come. There's a lot of things I should have done more of, things I should have done sooner, but maybe... You finish the sentence with her, voices blending. Maybe it isn't too late for some of those things. The mood shifts, something loosens in your chest. I'll see you soon. Coming for the soup dumplings. You laugh, light and a little breathless. We'll get all the soup dumplings you want. You stay in the line for a little longer, neither of you willing to say goodbye. Afterward, you walk along the beach until you come to the end of the jetty. Above you, the night sky spreads like a blanket, vast and boundless. The ocean rises to meet it. You'd like to think Nat's staring out at the same sky as you, half a world away. Your heart unfurls for the first time in weeks. You let yourself think about starting over. Back home, you fall asleep to the sound of the waves and Nat's voice, singing about the ocean, about forever, about going back to the beginning. The next morning, you wake up to sunlight streaming in from the window. Sleep muddled, you must have forgotten to close the curtains, but this is a nice way to wake up. It's only 7:30. You must still be jet-lagged. You turn around and try to get back to sleep, but your thoughts keep drifting you back to last night's call with Nat. Even though things are far from settled, the conversation had eased the tight knot in your chest. For the first time in weeks, you feel hopeful. Nat would soon be here in Singapore, and you have one last shot at salvaging the relationship. You take a deep breath, watching as the ocean rises above your apartment buildings opposite. After breakfast. To appease your mother after the disappearance last night, you spend most of the day with your family. That afternoon, the four of you play Mahjong, a game that I have never learned how to properly play. It is included in the Yakuza games everywhere, and I've tried it and don't understand, so I need to work at that. The Christmas presents from your extended family is stacked in a pile between you. Winner takes all. To nobody's surprise, your mother ends up winning by a big margin. As a result, she's in a good mood that she doesn't even complain that much when you tell her you're eating with your old junior college friends. I almost forgot about the reunion. When evening rolls around, you meet Junie by the river as promised. She pulls you into the bone-crushing hug, thumping you on the back as though executing the Heimlich maneuver. People are going to be excited to see you. It's been years. The two of you stroll along the river to the restaurant, where you'll be meeting the rest of your classmates. Hey, maybe this is the day you and Chu finally get over the bad blood between you. You never actually told her what went down all those years ago, even though you suspect Junie guesses some parts of it. 7 years ago. In the moments leading up to the national examinations at the end of junior college, Chu and you spend most of your waking hours after school studying together. Amidst the whirlwind of classes, mock exams, and college applications, you and Chu fall even more in love. One afternoon, the two of you head to the library after class. The air conditioning isn't working. Your brother had invited some friends over, so your house is out. I guess we can go to my place. My mom's out with a friend today. She'll be back late. You brighten. Chu hasn't invited you over in weeks because his parents are going through a rough patch, and he's been spending as little time as possible there. All you know is that Chu's mom had found out about his dad cheating. That is never good, and usually doesn't last, but every once in a while somehow does. Chu never wants to talk about it. Sure, I'll come. Can we make dumplings for dinner together? As far as you're concerned, that recipe is the only worthwhile thing Chu has ever inherited from his mother. I swear, it's the only reason you continue to hang out with me. Among other things. You slip your hand into Chu's fingers, lacing together as you head toward the bus stop. You settle down next to Chu at his dining table. The two of you work mostly in companionable silence. You're finishing up a chemistry assignment and Chu's doing a literature mock paper. After 2 hours, your attention slowly begins to wander. Chu looks up, narrowing his eyes at you. I can feel your gaze from here. He looks up at you, lips curling into a crooked smile. You promised not to be distracting. You're the one being distracting. You see Chu's throat bob up and down as he swallows, gaze growing thick. Just look at 5 more minutes of my practice test. When you move a little closer, thigh pressing against Chu's, you see a small flicker of desire dance across his features in response. Which features? Okay, we're not gonna smooch though, even though it's the past and it's not gonna affect things with Nat. We're not gonna do it. Chu's eyes continue to burn a hole in your soul. He draws closer, hand coming up to cup your jaw. Oh, he's going for it anyway. Your heart skips. Chu leans in, eyes fluttering shut. Shocked mom enters. She appears at the threshold of the living room. You hadn't heard her come in. Judging by her horrified expression, she's definitely seen everything, and she is judging you. Chu hastily lets go of you and steps back. He tries to school his expression into something fairly neutral, but you know him well enough to see the panic in his dark eyes. Shit. There's a long, terrible silence and hands on hips. The thump, thump, thump of your heartbeat is the only unreliable measure of time you have. Chu doesn't tear his eyes from his mother, and an entire conversation seems to be had in your presence, except you have no idea what's being said. Finally, his mom rounds on you. So, you're the one Chu's been wasting his time with. Before he got mixed up with you, he was on the dean's list every year. She glares at you. Now look at him. Shit prelim grades, throwing away his future, everything we sacrificed for. No, But Chu's mother doesn't want to hear it. She holds nothing back. The Mandarin words come at you, sharp and fast like throwing knives. In English, Mrs. Lin has always been hard and derisive, but in Mandarin, she's a force to behold, a typhoon sweeping and tempestuous. You think this is love? You think you, like 19-year-olds, know what love is? His mother sneers, not bothering to hide her contempt for you. Chu can do so much better than you. One day, he will wake up and regret this phase of his life. She spits the last sentence at you. Trust me, it'll hurt less if you just end this now. The words wedged like barbs in your heart, sinking deep into soft flesh, slicing all the way through. Do we defend the relationship? Shaky breath. I kind of like just hitting her with a punch of like, hey, you've been cheated on and your marriage is failing and you're telling me about love? We're not going to salvage this relationship anyway, so yeah, let's hit her with that. The fury that's coursing through your veins makes you lash out and set everything aflame. You deliver the blow that you know will put an end to any semblance of a chance you had of winning his mother's heart over. You probably never had a chance anyway at this point. You no longer care. That's Rich, you lecturing me about love. You meet her gaze coldly, with the insinuation lodged in your tone, and you know she knows exactly what you're alluding to. You hear the harsh intake of breath from Chu, see the clenching of his jaw. The surprise, betrayal, and eventual disappointment on his face stings, but you grit your teeth and stand your ground. Then Chu's mother lets out a bitter laugh, and her eyes meet yours, staring you down. Believe me, I know about mistakes disguised as love. Those are the worst kind. She picks up your bag from the ground and hands it to you. Go. This is the last I ever want to see or hear from you ever again. Through it all, Chu says nothing, just stares at you, dark eyes swirling. This, more than anything else, is what breaks your heart. You bite down so hard into your lower lip that you taste the metallic taste of blood. After that day. Damn. I know you don't understand my parents, and I know you don't like them. Chu's gaze hardens. But I told you about the affair because I was upset. Not so you would throw it in my mother's face. She was being a bit of an asshole, though. You let out a strangled snort of disbelief, feeling the disappointment and anger twist like a vine in your stomach, squeezing so tightly you can barely breathe. You're coming after me after everything your mom said, and you just stood there silently? He simply stares at you, regret pooling in his eyes. You realize that for as long as the specter of Chu's parents' pride and their expectations hang over him like a noose, he will never be happy. And you'll always be collateral damage. This is kind of like what Nat had said to us, of like, I'm holding you back. This is kind of like parallel to that, kind of. It's a lot of kind ofs, but there's something there. This realization turns into a cold, hard pebble into your gut. You shake your head, staring straight into Chu's eyes. Grow a goddamn backbone. Chu catches your arm, voice breaking. Don't make me choose between you and everything else. I can't. Your heart, made brittle by everything that had happened yesterday, finally shatters completely. I'm not the one making this an either-or situation. Don't pin this on me. Chu's face is wan, making the dark circles more obvious. Had you not gotten any sleep last night? We'll just not hang out at my house. I'll tell my parents I'm sitting outside, alone. Nothing has to change. That sounds not good. An easy fix, as long as you stay within the clean lines of Chu's boundaries and never ask for more. You'd pretend the problem didn't exist. No. You know it's over. There's no going back. The damage is done. In place of the heady, giddy feeling of falling in love, being in love, there's only one hollow, gnawing feeling of betrayal. Now it's about your grades, next it'll be a career, but underneath it'll always be a chokehold of your parents, their expectations, and what your life should look like. You'll have to pick, and I'll be the one that gets dropped. There's a silence. If Chu had said something, anything to refute this, you might not have walked away. But he doesn't, again, so you turn and don't look back. The next few days morph into weeks. You still see each other in class, sometimes after school, but you barely talk to each other. The haunted look in Chu's eyes never goes away. You stop dreaming about the future you could have shared with Chu. Instead, you pour all of your energy into studying, just to fill the hole in your heart that had once been reserved for him. Nothing feels the same, but you lie to yourself that if you can just make it through the exams, earn your ticket out of Singapore, you'll leave all this pain behind. Soon, classes come to an end, and you take your exams and leave the rest to fate. In the end, you'll get a full scholarship to NYU. Hey, one of my best friends went there. And you hear that Chu's heading to the best law program in the country. Once you might have hesitated at the thought of accepting an offer that would bring you halfway around the world for 4 years, because that is a huge decision to make as a teen. Just going to university in general, but also going that far away. It's crazy. A lot of respect to people that could successfully accomplish that, though. But those days are long over. You submit your official acceptance to NYU, eager to reinvent yourself in a new city, a new country. That's the last you see of Chu. Back to the present, to this cool restaurant bar situation on this very pretty water. Back to the day after Christmas, you and Junie have both stopped walking. Junie had listened to the entire story without interrupting, but now she rests a hand on your shoulder and squeezes. Damn, I'm sorry you had to go through that. Chu told me some of it, but I hadn't realized it was so bad. Junie pulls you into a hug and lets you relax into your embrace. You do feel a little lighter, now that you've told Junie about what happened. Like, years later. You gonna be okay later if Chu shows up? Junie jerks a thumb the way you'd come. Because if you'd like to bail, I know the best Burmese place down that way. You wave a hand at Junie. I'll be fine. This place is way fancy. Cool bar setup though. The restaurant is all sleek, black and white lines and dark mahogany. The space thrums with Christmas Eve energy, but it's the day after Christmas right now. It could still have Christmas Eve energy, I guess. Clinging glasses burst of laughter, murmur of low conversation. You scan the sleek interior until you spot familiar faces at a corner booth. Tech, your classmate and Junie's boyfriend, dang, they've been together for like 8 years, gives you both an enthusiastic wave and dashes over, pulling both you and Junie into a bear hug. You're heading toward the table with the two of them, and the door swings open. Something, instinct perhaps, or just bad timing, makes you turn and look at Chu. You stand silhouetted in the doorway, the smile on your face freezes in place. Fancy ass watch he's got now. Time slows. Chu's eyes meet yours, and all the air whooshes out of your lungs. His dark gaze is exactly how you remember it. Turbulent, depthless, frustratingly unreadable. You let your eyes trace the hard, angular structure of his cheekbones and jaw down to his tailored shirt and pants. It all speaks subtly of success and power and prestige, all the things his parents had always wished for, no, expected of him. You hear he's a public prosecutor now, and he certainly looks like the sort of person you wouldn't want to go up against in court. And yet, in the subtle softening of his eyes as he holds your gaze, you see traces of the Chu you once knew. There's a hollow ache in your chest. Slowly, he lifts his chin, and his lips curl into a wry, almost cryptic smile. I was starting to think I'd never see you again. Me too, I say, coolly, like a cool person. Emotions surge beneath your placid surface as you stare at Chu, the first person you'd fallen in love with, and the first person to break your heart. But you surprise yourself by giving absolutely nothing away. When you respond, your gaze is level. Me too. It's been a while. Your tone is cool. The only hint that you might be more affected than you let on is the tight, coiled feeling in your gut. Chu presses his lips together, and you see a vein in his neck pulse. Dang, dude. Chu pushes a strand of hair out of his eyes. You recognize the tick. He does it when he's nervous or uncertain. I've been doing it because I really need a haircut and a bank trim. And once I feel my hair pressed on my brow, it feels weird. And now I'm just playing with my hair. He does it when he's nervous or uncertain, and there's been a time when you found it impossibly endearing. After chatting for a while, Chu's gaze slides to the table where your classmates are seated. Watching the two of you with undisguised curiosity, he tilts his chin to the back exit. Can we talk outside for a bit? No, dude. Why can't you just say it here? There's a flicker of nervousness on his face, but he quickly masks it. Finally Chu grits his teeth and takes a deep breath. Something shifts in his expression. Whatever had remained on his hard exterior crumbles to dust in front of you. I wanted to apologize for the way things ended. So, to make up for not saying anything to you twice, I'm gonna be very public about saying things to you this time. Your heart drops to the pit of your stomach. I assumed you'd always be in my life. I was 18 and stupid, and classmates are definitely staring now, but Chu keeps going, words coming out rough and unpracticed. I achieved everything on my parents' list, ticked them off one by one. It didn't make me feel anything. Chu sucks in a breath and chokes out the words. I thought I could do what my parents wanted and come back for the things that actually made me happy afterward. But by then, you were already gone. You think of that afternoon in his house, everything that his mother had said and everything that Chu had not. You look at Chu for a long moment without saying anything, letting the noise of the restaurant fill the silence in the meantime. Nah, I don't need you, bro. I've grown. I've moved on. You take a long breath, blow it out again, slowly regaining control of your emotions. Chu, we're not 18 anymore. We haven't spoken in years. We don't even live in the same country. You wave a hand at the tailored suit, carefully styled hair, the accumulated evidence of just how much your lives had diverged. I think this ship has sailed a long time ago. There's a long pause, and you see that Chu's hands are still trembling slightly at his sides. Chu sucks in a shaky breath, eyes swimming. You stare at each other. Several moments later, Chu's mask clicks back into place. He nods a step back. Okay. I was just thinking this thought, and then it was immediately incorrect, because I noticed that the dialogue doesn't really give the pronouns for the other characters that often and uses their names a lot, and I figured that is because you can make them male or female. But then naturally, he nods a step back, immediately made that an incorrect assessment. This has always been the story of your relationship. Missed opportunities, things left unsaid, unresolved emotions writhing like snakes beneath a smooth, opaque surface. The two of you rejoined your classmates. Junie's gaze slides to you, curious, but she doesn't say anything in front of everybody else. Also has a cute cat shirt, just like our brother. Back at home. That night when you return home, you realize that everyone's been asking you the same question. Are you staying this time? Chu had asked it first, right before you left New York. Nat on a hot afternoon at the beach, then a snowy street in New York. For years, you've been living in the space between cities, between a past that you can't forget and a future that's just out of reach. Tomorrow, you'll wake up in the childhood bedroom, with 4 days left in Singapore before the new year. As you walk from the car park to your apartment, you wonder what it would take to finally arrive at an answer to that question. Alright, that is the extended demo. I don't know if there's going to be another one beyond this. I think there might be. Mountain Games is actually really detailed about their plans for stuff on Tumblr and whatnot. Allie just has a ton about the game, and there's a text-only version of the game's script that's like kind of done, and a text-only version of another game that's also being worked on that's pretty fleshed out. So I guess I could find out myself if I just do a bit of reading. But for now, that's what we got. The game's intended to release in December, November this fall, to come out around Christmas, and I've really been enjoying all the time I've spent with it, so I'm looking forward to playing it again and making my own headcanon choices, which will be different than this. I'm not gonna go for Nat. It'll probably be Shay, to just not have the baggage of an ex being involved. But hope you enjoyed it. Check out the game for yourself. Check out that written interview I mentioned. Might have Allie on the podcast at some point. And have a good day. Make good choices. Bye.